My name's Lanae Workman, and I'm 28 years old, and I'm the owner of Paisley Cakes in Blackfoot, Idaho. And today I'm going to show you how to make my favorite baked holiday item, and that's a jam braid. You probably never heard of a jam braid, but it's my favorite. And the reason it's my favorite is because me and my mom used to make it every Christmas for our neighbors. And a jam braid is a special sweet dough, and it's braided around a layer of jam. And then it's topped with a sweet sugary glaze. And it is so good. And so the reason that it's my favorite is because when me and my mom used to make them every year for our neighbors, all of our neighbors, we would go ding dong ditch them, and we'd leave them on the front porch with a little note, and then we'd ring their doorbell and we'd run away. And then it was so much fun to see them like looking around trying to figure out who left them this delicious treat. And all of our neighbors figured out a long time ago who it was that was leaving their treats on their front porch, but they loved it every time. And so we're going to show you how to make it. So it starts out, and we're going to add butter, and this butter has been softened to room temperature, so it's not going to be easy to mix in. And then we're going to add some sugar. And the reason that there is butter and sugar in this dough is to give it a richer, a little bit chewier taste to it, and it's so good. So we're going to mix it up, add a little bit of vanilla in there. And we're going to cream it just like you would cookies or cake. So we're going to cream the butter and the sugar together. And then, while that's creaming, I'm going to crack my couple of eggs. Ooh, I'm a terrible cracker. Yikes. Because there's no eggshells in it. Make sure there's none. And then we're going to add that to the creamed butter and sugar. We're also going to add in some evaporated milk and a little bit of salt. And we're just going to let that mix. So we're going to scrape down the bowl, make sure that everything gets incorporated the way it should be. And then we're also going to add in some yeast that's been softening in a little bit of warm water. And we'll add that in there while the mixer stops so it doesn't splash all over us. Scrape that in there. Okay. Now we're going to just mix it up a little bit, and then we're going to start adding some flour. And we're going to start with 2 cups of flour. I have it pre-measured here, but we're just going to add it right in there. And this will help to incorporate all those other ingredients that we've already added. Start creating a soft dough. And once that gets mixed in for a second, then we're going to add in 2.5 more cups of flour, but we might not add it all. And that's the key to dough, is making sure that we don't add too much flour, because if we make it too stiff, then it's not going to be a very flavorful or tasty dough. So we're going to start adding just a little bit at a time in there until it starts to kind of come together as a nice soft dough. Be careful not to plop it in there, because it might come back in your face and you'll be covered in flour. Okay, so it's starting to come together as a dough. We're going to add a little bit more in there. It looks like my dough is soft enough that we'll probably want to add all of the flour in today. Okay, so we're going to let that mix for a second more. And then the key to the jam braid is the double rising. So we're going to actually let it rise for a few minutes until it's doubled in size. And then we're going to shape it up, and then we're going to let it rise again. So we're going to let it mix it up for a second until it's nice and come together. And then we're going to come back in a few minutes after it's risen, and we're going to go from there. Hi. So now we're back. We've got our dough, and you can see it's raised up really nice. So I'm going to actually squish it down. I know that sounds crazy. I'm going to squish it. And then we're going to chop it in half, because this recipe makes 2 jam braids. So we're going to take each half of the dough, and we're going to roll it out into a rectangle. You can see I have a nice soft dough. It's not too sticky or anything, but it's really just a good dough. And I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of flour on my surface here so it doesn't stick. Sprinkle a little bit on top of the dough, and then also coat my rolling pin. And then I'm going to roll it out. And this is the tricky part, getting it to stay in the shape you want. We want it into a long rectangle. And you want it pretty thin. Next time I probably won't use as much flour because now it's moving around on me. Okay, so it's not quite a rectangle, but we're going to go with it. And we're going to take some jam and we're going to run it down the middle of our dough. And I like a lot of jam in mine. You can do as much as you like. But if you took too much in there, it's going to all fall out the sides when you bake it. So today we're going to use a pizza cutter. But when I was a kid, I used to love to use my mom's potato chopper. Have like little crinkly edges. And so I thought it made it look really fancy. But it's totally okay to use a knife or a pizza roller. And that's what we're going to use today. But we're going to take and we're going to cut slits in the dough up until you get almost to the row of jam. So we're going to make a whole bunch of little slits here. Now you don't want to cut all the way to the jam because you want to have some room for the jam to kind of expand inside there. And then we're going to come to the other side and do the same thing. A whole bunch of slits. Okay. And now we're going to braid it. So we're going to do back and forth. And we're just going to kind of crisscross the dough across the jam. And make this cute little braid. This was always my favorite part because I thought it got to make it look fancy. And I like to kind of push and then press it down so it kind of seals it up inside there. And then when you get to the end, my mom always says to make sure and seal off the edge so that nothing comes out the end, and then tuck those underneath. And so now we have old jam braid. We're going to take our pan and we're going to spray it with some pan spray. Oh no, I broke my thing, so I hope I don't spray myself in the eye. Oh goodness. So spray our pan. Try not to spray yourself in the eye when you're baking. And then we're going to pick up our jam braid and carefully transfer it to our baking sheet. Now we're going to do this with the second one. We're going to throw them in the oven for about 15 minutes. Actually, before we throw them in the oven, we have to let them raise again. So we're going to let them raise, and then we're going to throw them in the oven for about 15 minutes, and we'll be back. Hi, so we're back. And look at these beautifully baked jam braids. We let them rise until they were doubled, and then we put them in the oven for about 15 minutes until they were nice golden brown. And they're still really hot, so I'm going to be careful not to touch the pan. And I mixed up some icing. This is our glaze, and it is butter. It's a little bit of powdered sugar, some milk, and a little bit of vanilla, and it's delicious. Mine's a little bit thicker. I love to put it on with a piping bag so it looks really nice. So I'm going to snip the tip off of that, and then we're going to pipe some glaze on there. And these are really hot, so this glaze is going to melt right into the bread. We're going to put a lot on there because I like lots of glaze. And there are lots of ways that you can incorporate some fun and holiday themes in here. You could dye your glaze red and green and do some fun colors. You can top it with fun toppings and lots of fun things you can do. One time for Easter, I even made my braid into a curvy shape and dyed the glaze green and turned it into a caterpillar on a leaf tray. So there's lots of fun things you can do with a jam braid. So now we have lots of glaze on there. I'm actually going to top my jam braids with a little bit of slivered almonds and give it a little bit of crunch. So we're going to sprinkle that on there. It's going to stick. They're going to stick to the glaze, and it's going to give those some really nice crunchy bites on top. And now, guess what we're going to go do? We're going to go deliver these, but not just deliver them. We're going to go ding-dong ditch some neighbors. So we'll see you in a few minutes to go help us with that. So I hope you can hear me because I'm whispering, but I'm out here in front of their house, and we're totally going to go ding-dong ditch them and leave the Miss Jam Braid. So come with me.
Who's out here? Damn kids, it's freaking late. Go to bed.
Do you think they saw me? I hope not. Thanks for coming with us on a little trip down memory lane as we went ding-dong ditching with our holiday treats. I hope that you had a fun time making jam braids and enjoy making them at your own house too. And we'll see you in Los Angeles.